morning and welcome to today's edition of Daily Guide Review. My name is Onyinyechi Ogbonna. Today being the 12th day of January, Thursday, we're looking at the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 38 verse 1 to 22 is a long passage, but by the grace of God, I'm going to share with us few lessons that God was bringing our way today. Now, this is a Psalm of David. This is David asking God for mercy because he has sinned. According to verse 4, he has sinned against God, and then he was asking God for mercy. And a lot of things happen, which I'm going to be sharing with us today. Now, David, we know, is a man after God's heart. And this is one of the reasons why he was described as a man after God's heart. Whenever he sinned, he always go to God. He acknowledged his sin and always go to God for mercy. Now, David was crying to God, God, please show me mercy because I have sinned against you. And I want to bring also to our notes that David was a Christian. It was not that David was an unbeliever. He was a Christian. He was already born again. And the lesson God is bringing to us today is, as a Christian, when you sin against God, as a born again, when you sin against God, what do? Do you go and wallow in sin? Do you go trying to cover your sin? Do you go, trying to see how you can dodge away from God? Some people sin, and instead of them to come to God and ask God for mercy, they feel shy. They feel, no, I have disappointed God. God cannot have mercy on me again. No, you are supposed to come to God and cry for mercy. We saw the lives of Judah and Saul. When Saul sinned against God, what did Saul do? He was there making excuse. He was there trying to, make excuse why he did what he did, instead of acknowledging his sin. As a child of God, as a pastor, as a reverend that you are, when you sin against God, what do you do? What do you do? What are you supposed to do? What do you do and what are you supposed to do? Now, what you are supposed to do is to go to God for mercy. David has set a good example for us that whenever you sin, that you should go and ask God for mercy. You should go and say, God, please have mercy on me. If you're a pastor, you have told lies on the pulpit. If you are a church worker, you have done one or two things which I cannot begin to mention, but because the Spirit of God will keep telling you that you have offended God. What are you supposed to do? Go to God and ask him to show you mercy. The second lesson is in verse 13, and I would like to read that verse. It says, but I am a deaf man, heard not, I was as dumb man that openeth not his mouth. Now, as a result of the sin David committed, a lot of things were happening to him. His friends, deserted him. His enemies were up all against him. He even had wounds in his body, as we saw in the passage. But David chose to be deaf. David chose not to speak in reaction to that. Because as a result of the sin he committed, these things happened to him. Maybe his family, people he helped before, they started, mocking him. The people he expected to be on his side, they started, insulting him. But what did he do? He said, I choose to be deaf. Man of God, woman of God. When things are happening to you, when things, as a result of the sin you've committed, maybe the church or the fellowship decide to give you a backseat, what are you supposed to do? Turn a deaf ear. Even when people are saying, look at the disgrace. We've seen a lot of these things happen on social media. Maybe a man of God fell and people will start mocking and insulting him. You are not supposed to come out and be responding. You have sinned against God and not them. What David did was to go back to God, and he was just there saying, God, I will not respond to these things. Even though he was tempted to respond, he was tempted to react, but he said, no, I am not responding. He was just there to God, asking God for mercy. I don't know what the Spirit of the Lord has dropped in your heart today. If there is a sin that you have committed, if there is a guilt, a guilt that you are feeling, and what the devil wants to do is to make you remain in that place. No. If there's anything that you have sinned against God, go to God for mercy. Ask the Lord to show you mercy. Ask the Lord, and so that God is willing to welcome you back. When David asked for mercy, what did God do? Did God say, no, I will never forgive you? Some people may say that, I will never forgive you for this thing you have committed. No matter the sin that you have committed, it could be sin of adultery, sin of fornication, go to God for mercy. For the want of our time, I would like to share with us a story, but because of that, let's just leave it at that. I don't know. You can ask God right now, say, Lord, I have sinned against you. There is something that you have done to God, that you have done against God, that you have done to God, and God is not happy with you. Go and say, Lord, please have mercy on me. Show me mercy. And in case you're also watching me, you have not even given your life to Christ, you have not accepted Jesus as your Lord and personal Savior, ask the Lord to show you mercy. Thank you. This is where we'll be drawing the curtain for today. Join us tomorrow for another edition. God bless you.